I never saw Strangers Chapter 1, and I remember being a pretty decently big fan of the original when I was younger. I don't think I've seen it in at least 10 years, but I sort of remember how the original was, and I've been dreading to watch Strangers Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, which I'm going to see the day this video goes up, I'm pretty sure. And I'm watching this 6 hours before I see chapter two, or I've watched this, I guess, 6 hours before I go and watch chapter two, and I really just don't know what the fuck they were thinking making this movie. I don't usually do this, but maybe I should start doing it more because I was really enjoying the thought of doing this type of review for this movie. I'm just gonna go into each and every single of the main three people for this movie. So the director and the two leads of this film. And usually I don't do this, but I genuinely hated this movie so much. I figured why not go see what this studio was thinking while making this movie with a live reaction. Um so Strangers Chapter 1, and I don't know what the studio is, and I don't really give a fuck. But I might have to after I watch Chapter 2, depending on how good or bad it is. This is a trilogy, I think, made all in one sitting. I could be wrong. I think this whole trilogy that we're getting, which is this last year, this year, next year, were all made in one sitting. So there's a lot of time, budget, whatever going into these movies, and it's a trilogy. So you have to have a lot of care for something if you're going to do a series where you're going to film everything within what, 1 year. I feel like there has to be a lot of care taken into these movies. Well, let's go right into the director first. Well, let's see what the director's past work is here. Die Hard 2. All right, not bad. Uh The Long Kiss Goodnight, not bad, not bad. Well, I feel like we should just go to horror movies, maybe, because this is a horror movie, right? Let's see what he's made here. He's made Strangers Chapter 1 and 2, of course, no shit. Well, we got Deep Blue Sea, which is dog shit. Nightmare on Elm Street 4, which is, I think a lot of people agree this is maybe one of, if not the worst Nightmare on Elm Street. It's definitely up there. I can't be the worst. The remake is probably the worst. Um, The Covenant, which is dog shit. Devil's Pass, which I didn't enjoy. I don't know what the reviews are for that. Is that Exorcist the beginning? It's he's made Exorcist the beginning. Uh, wow. Is that the Mindhunters I watched? Yep. Not really a fan of that one, to be honest. And seems like that's all I've watched from this guy. So he's made a bunch of shit movies. So you hired a guy who's made poop and shit to direct a trilogy all in one sitting. Okay, well, let's see how the main leads are. Let's see who these people are. What are their history? Ha, Madeline Petch, CW actor. All right, and Froy Gutierrez, Hocus Pocus 2. Oh my god, he was in the Initiation. That movie fucking sucks ass. All right, good casting for sure. Really good casting here. And as for the writers of this movie, they have worked on nothing except the Todd Phillips directed movie 15 years ago. What the fuck? So, your writers have no experience in film. Your director has only made garbage horror movies, and your two leads of the movie are not even B-list actors. So what the fuck were they thinking here? I really don't know. I remember the original Strangers movie obviously being the birth of these home invasion type movies, and it even led to uh not an amazing movie to me, but a movie I remember enjoying when I did watch it the two times I did watch it, which was Hush. And now we're here. This movie has none of the sauce of the original. This movie has none of the anything of the original, actually. I really just don't know what the fuck they were thinking here. I'll just go straight into it with the two leads. I think the two leads in this movie have some of the worst acting I've seen this year. Obviously, this movie came out last year, but this is the first time I've ever seen this movie, The Strangers Chapter 1. Madeline Petch is just trying way too hard in her role. It feels like she's overly acting in every scene, and then to be the yin to her yang, you have Freud Gutierrez having almost no acting range at all. Every time he's on screen, uh his face looks like it hasn't moved a muscle. He can be completely worried, he can be happy, he can be sad, he can be angry, and his face will always look like this throughout the entire movie. He looks like this. So what the fuck? And this is one of your leads? Like, I really just don't get it. His also his besides his actual facial acting, I think his line delivery was also absolutely shit. And speaking of line delivery, the script in this movie is absolutely abysmal. I think the charm of home invasion movies is that you try to make it feel as authentic and real as possible. Nothing about this felt authentic. Everything just felt like way too try hard. It felt more like a high school or middle school play rather than an actual movie. So shout out to that. Shout out to the writers and shout out to the two main leads of this movie for none of them hitting the nail on the coffin here. And thank God we're getting Madeline Petch in the second one, and I can only assume the third one as well. So always great to know that we just have a not great actress for three straight movies, is my guess. And of course, the director for three straight movies as well. So that's great. And as opposed to everything else in this movie, I really don't think there's anything here. The movie looks like shit, and it's supposed to be a home invasion movie, which are usually pretty tense, pretty keeping you on the edge of your seat. I don't think there's a single part in this movie that keeps me on the edge of my seat or tense at all. And it's so strange because this movie is clearly trying to be a ripoff of the original, and yet it feels like someone went on YouTube, like a 2008 YouTube video, and tried making their own version of the original Strangers movie, and they came out with this garbage instead. None of the visual sauce in this movie, or the originals in this movie, none of the atmosphere, even the score of the original was pretty good. But I remember the original looking so like warm and there and pretty, and I know it's different times now and movies just don't look as good anymore for some fucking reason, but this movie just looks like shit. It really just looks like a direct to like Netflix movie that should never even have a second one after this. And I really just don't understand what was going on in this movie. Uh, the performances were all bad, the writing is bad. I can't believe you have a couple in this movie and it feels like their chemistry doesn't even exist. And I don't know who to blame, whether that's the writers or the actors, because, like I said, I think all of them just fumbled the bag completely here. I really don't know. I don't know what to say. Can't even think of anything positive to say about this movie. I don't think I can. I really don't think I can. I still am not sure if this is part of the original two movies as a franchise. From I've been trying to study online what the fuck this movie timeline wise takes place because it does just feel like a copy of the original. But at the same time, I've read it takes place in the same timeline and all this. So I'm not sure. I really don't know. Um I actually can probably talk about more things I don't like about this movie now that I'm thinking about it. The 20-minute forest chase scene is absolutely fucking rubbish and boring as all hell. I was like so tempted. I don't do this with movies. I don't skip, I don't fast forward, I don't do nothing. I was tempted to just mute it and put it at 2 times speed just for that fucking entire forest chase scene to be over with. Because that was absolutely garbage, boring crap. I could not believe how boring it was. Like, this is supposed to be a tense movie. The forest scene felt like a goofy, shitty ripoff of I don't even know what the fuck it was trying to be. It was just boring and just garbage, just utter garbage. This whole movie just utter fucking garbage. Um, I I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, is there anything positive about this movie I can say? I think the costume designs for the strangers were pretty fine. It's kind of hard not fumble that because one of them is just a guy with a bag on his head and the other two are just women wearing masks. But they still look cool. I'll give them that. Whenever they were on screen, I thought they were pretty cool. This movie fucking sucks, man. Going into this, I wasn't really too optimistic, like I said earlier, but I didn't expect this to be one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen in my life. And I watch a lot of horror movies, and people can say like, this really isn't that bad. This isn't as bad as you're making it seem. You're rating it as bad as like the Jeepers Keep Creepers sequels. And it's like, yeah, I think it deserves to be that low. I think I'm rating it even lower. Maybe realistically, this might be a 2 out of 10, but I'm giving it a 1 out of 10 because this is going to be the start of what I feel like to be a dog shit trilogy. And I'm not excited that I have to watch the second one later. And and I'm hoping the second one is somehow better. I don't know how because I thought the entire like cool thing about home invasion movies, and especially if you're going to do sequels, is that you have, for example, the strangers, have them return and just fuck with new people and see how these people react to the strangers and see if they take the situation differently or whatever. But instead, we're going to have Madeline Petch return for the second one, and I just don't care. I don't want her in the second one, and it sucks. Like, there's nothing that can be done about it. Yeah, that's Strangers Chapter One. I think this is unbelievably bad. I will be watching Chapter 2 later today when this video goes up, and the review will be up tomorrow. If you haven't seen Strangers Chapter 2, try watching it with me and watching the watching my review of that afterwards. And I'd love to know your thoughts on this one and the second one in the comments below. I don't think it's really spoilers. Just leave. I'm so curious what you people think about this one and the second one, and even the previous ones compared to these, because something just went horribly wrong here, and I wish the Strangers franchise just never even came back.